So we're going to move to the next task, which is to generate a random sample of 10 observations and also to build a 95% confidence interval for population mean based on normal distribution. So the step is quite similar as what we have in the previous task but I'm going to need also to build the confidence interval. So let's review on what we have learned about confidence interval for population means, which is given with the formula of mean, sample mean plus minus of the z value with the significance alpha over 2 multiply the standard deviation over the square root of number of sample. So these are the values that we're going to need it to build the confidence interval. So first of all, let's build the 10 sample first. So it's still the same. Let's press equal norm. Okay, we're going to do for the first distribution. Okay, so the same norm inverse, probability random, and then the mean of 10, standard deviation is square root of 2. Okay, so we're going to need to build 10 numbers. Okay, so you can check here, count of 10 means 10 samples has been provided. Okay, so the next thing that we need is to calculate the mean, z value, significance figure, and the number of sample. So before that, you also can just decorate your own cell to put the title. So let's say we have data 1. Okay, data 1 for the title of this thing. And then we have data 2. So the next thing is you can also automatically generate names for each of them. Okay, so Excel is very convenient tool for you that you may need it in future. So next thing, I'm going to calculate each of these separately. So for example, we need the mean. Okay, we need the mean. So the mean function is pretty quite straightforward, equal average. Okay, there's an average function. So just include all the numbers here, 10 numbers, and press enter. So it can calculate the mean for you automatically. So the next thing is we need the value of z. So this one can be obtained with the function of norm.s.inverse. Okay, so S is the standard value. Okay, the Z is the standard value that we have learned about the normal distributions, which has the mean of 0, standard deviation of 1. Okay, so for the Z value, okay, so we can use this function equal norm.s.inverse. So what we have is the probability. So the probability here is referred to the value of the alpha. So as you have learned how to build the confidence interval, that we have the 95% in the middle, okay, as the confidence interval. So this is the significant level that we have. So if this is 95%, so this should be the 5 divided by 2, 2.5%. So this is how you can get the probability to use this function. So as this is the left tail functions, so what we need is actually like 97.5 to get the value of z. Okay, of course, we also can try with 0.025 first. So you will get something with a negative value, okay, which is negative 1.96. So this is what you have learned. This is a negative 1.96. This should be the 1.96. So to get a positive value, so what you need is to actually adjust the value of the probability to 97.5%. Get 0.975 and you should get 1.96. So by the way, when you type something on the Excel, you can see auto refresh. Okay, so it sometimes very irritating and the data keep changing. So to solve this problem, so you can actually go to the formulas and go to the calculation option. You can click the manual. So it will stop updating the data unless you do it manually, which is the button of F9 on your keyboard. Okay, so you can see update automatically. Okay, so we shall continue. So what we need the next is the sample standard deviation. Okay, standard deviation. So we also have the function equal std eb.p. Okay, so we use ep.p. Okay, then you highlight all the 10 numbers. So it will calculate the standard deviation for you automatically. Okay, so now we almost have everything. Okay, we have the number sample as 10. So no need to worry about it. So now we can just calculate the value. Okay, so we have the lower and upper. So let us build the lower first. So lower will be equal to the mean, refer to the formula. The mean minus the z value multiply the standard deviation divided by the square root of the sample number, which is 10 in this case. Okay, let's put in 10. So you get the lower boundary. And then to get the higher value, so what you have is you can just copy the formulas because it's almost the same. Okay, so you just change the minus to plus, or you can just type it yourself with the same thing as the previous cell. So you can get the higher, which is 11.03072. Okay, so just adjust the decimal places that you do not need to show all the numbers. Okay, so Excel actually also provide another function for you to actually calculate the confidence in much faster way. So you can do it as a second method for verification for your own extra knowledge here. So let's see this one. So I think this should be known as a standard error. I'm not sure the names. Okay, so equal to the confidence. Okay, the function is confidence.normal. Okay, give you the confidence interval. Okay, the range. So what you need is the alpha, which is 5%, okay, for this function, standard deviation of the data, okay, standard deviation of data, and then the size of 10, okay, we have 10 samples. Okay, so it gives you the interval. Okay, so the next thing here, okay, to use this function that you need to do also the plus and minus. So the value given here, 0.673, is actually the Z multiplied sigma over square root n. So you can check again. So the lower it will be equal to the mean minus the standard error. Okay, so you can see it has the same value as the previous method. So both this method can be used. So it depends on you, because I think this would be much easier for you to understand why we use the method here. Okay, so for this function is actually much faster because it's straight away produce the value needed and just need to do the plus and minus. So you can do for the higher value, so it will be equal to the mean plus the standard error. Okay, so it's showing the same answer as the previous one. Okay, so you can use either one to do it because both are correct, and you can just do it on your own for the rest of the distribution. So now we're going to look at the next thing that we need to obtain 200 confidence interval. So actually it is still the same, the thing that you just need to do the pooling thing. Okay, so you need to pool the data. So which means that if you have 10 data, this is one set of data. So if you need to build 200 confidence interval, you need to build a lot of set of data separately. So in this case, just pull it. So let's say we just build 10 enough for the demo for this case. So you can see the number is the same because I've set the calculation to be manual. So just press F9 so you can see it is a 10 sets of random sample from the normal distribution. Okay, press F9. Okay, so now let's say we just need to do 10 set of confidence interval for the demo in this video. So what you need to do next is just update all the cell. Okay? So it's easy. Just highlight the cell and double click the cell. So it will auto generate everything for you. Okay, press F9. So you can see we have 10 confidence interval in this case. Okay, so if you need 200, just pull it up to 200. And okay, you can do it on your own. So now we're going to look at the next question, which is estimate the coverage probability of the confidence interval for the population mean by using the proportion of confidence interval that contain population mean. So this is quite tricky because we need to compute the proportion of confidence interval that contains population mean. So what does it mean that confidence interval that contains the population mean? As we know that the population mean is equal to 10, let's say for these distributions, it should be 10. So we need to check if any of the confidence interval, either they contain or they do not contain the population mean. So in this case, you can see I can see this set of data. It produces a confidence interval between 10.02 to 11.36, which means that the population mean is outside of this confidence interval, which is, we will say this sample is not correct. Okay, so it doesn't contain the population mean. So we will say this is called as a failed confidence interval. Okay, it did not cover the population mean. So now what we need to do next is to compute the proportion, okay, based on what we have, okay, based on the data generated. Okay, so I will throw this away because I prefer the first method. So what we need to do is we need to check if, let's say, if, okay, yes or no for the confidence interval. So you can do it manually, but if let's say you have 200 confidence interval for one distributions and you need to times 5 for 5 distributions, it will be a lot of work. So we have a function in Excel that to help us to compute the things in much faster way. So to learn more about the function, I have input a link for you to refer if you want to learn more about it. But for here, I will just straight away to use the function and demonstrate for you to how to use the function. So the function is called as COUNTIF. Okay. So in future, if you learn about programming, so this is should be something that you will come across on the programming language. Okay, if else if. So it counts the number of cells within a range that meet the given condition. So what is the condition that we have? So if we want to use, if you want to get if the population mean inside the confidence interval, so based on the range here, okay, we need to make sure that the first number, which is lower, must be less than the mean, okay, from the function here. And then the second value, which is the higher value, should be more than the mean value, okay, which means that the 10, okay, the population mean should be in between the number. Okay, so let's say 9 less than 10, less than 11. Okay, so you can see that this one should be less than, okay, less than the mean. This one should be bigger than the mean. Okay, so from this cascade, we're going to need to build the programming language to do the counting. So COUNTIF only give you, let's say, the one condition. So you can go to the next one, COUNTIF. Okay, it will give you a set of condition because we have two conditions to apply. First is that the lower should be less than the mean. The higher should be more than the mean. So we will use this one instead of the COUNTIF. Okay, so COUNTIFs. So the first is criteria range 1. So just press the lower and then you need to write out the criteria. Okay, so press the comma. Okay, open. Then should be less than equal to 10. Okay, because 10 is still include the population mean. And then we're going to go for the second criteria range, which is the higher. So it should be higher than the population mean, which is the 10. Okay, so based on different distributions, you have different mean. So you need to adjust the formula yourself. So the mean is 10, then you just put in 10. And for chi-square distributions, the mean is equal to the degree of freedom, such as you have degree freedom of 1, which means that the mean is 1. Degree freedom of 10, you should have 10 as the mean. Degree freedom of 30, you should have 30 as the mean. Okay, so press enter, so it can give you 1. Okay, so if you need to pull it, it will be a lot of work, but actually you can do it better. Okay, so let us adjust again these formulas. So now, okay, we're going to replace this thing. So you can see it's criteria range 1. So by the word range means you actually can highlight a lot more cell rather than just one cell. So just delete the, okay, so we're going to redo it. Just highlight all the lower, okay, all the lower value. So you can see criteria range 1. So all these things you will check either it is less than 10 or more than 10. And then for the second criteria that we have P3, replace it and highlight all the higher value here. So if we check all the, okay, the red highlighted here, there should be more than 10. So and then press enter, so you can see it gives you the number of 8, which means there are 8 confidence interval that has the population mean inside the interval. So you can check it yourself which one did not include the 10. Oh yeah, by the way, we have only 9 set of data. Okay, we only have 9 set of data. So we only have 8 confidence interval in this case. So yeah, it's correct. Okay. So we can add in one more set to make it 10. Okay, press F9. So let's check again about the COUNTIF function. So you can see you still have 8. So let's see which confidence interval that do not have the population mean. So this is the one. And another one. Okay, so we need to check again. So because the highlighted cell is only up to this cell. Oh yeah, okay. So we need to pull it. And then for this one, just pull it. Okay, and then you can press enter. Okay, so for this one, you can see it has 10 set of confidence interval that contain the mean. So let's try to refresh and look for a few cases. So here we have add confidence interval that do not contain the population mean. So you can check it yourself. So I can see this is the one, okay, do not contain the population mean. And the second set of confidence interval is this one. So it's correct. Okay. So when you press F9 again, so we can try to check another set of data. So let's say we go for okay, so let's say we go for 7 and we can try to cross-check if the formula is correct. So we have three confidence intervals that do not contain the population mean. So I can see the first one is here, second, and the third. Okay, so it's correct. So you can check the formulas here again. So it is a COUNTIF. Okay, the range of the lower cell should be lower than 10, and the higher value it should be more than the population mean. So it can calculate for you directly to see which, okay, how many numbers of confidence interval that contain population mean. And the next thing is we need to have the proportion of the confidence interval that contains the population mean. So let's say we have 10 confidence interval. So what we need to do is that the proportion, okay, the proportion should be equal to 7. Okay, the 7, okay, should be equal 7 divided by 10. Okay, so we have the proportion of 0.7. And then the next thing that we need to do is we're going to review back on the confidence interval for the proportion. So what we need is to have the Z value, so which is also the same that we need to have the 95%. And then we have the proportion multiply 1 minus proportion over n. So this is should be how we can build the confidence interval for the population mean. So for the Z value, so I think it's pretty quite simple that it is equal to the norm dot s dot inverse. Okay, so this is what we have. The probability is 0.975. Okay, don't forget how we get the 975. So it's around 1.96. Okay, so the next thing is we need to find out the confidence interval. So now we're going to use it because so lower and the higher. So the formula is equal to the proportion 0.7. So for minus is for the lower is minus the z value multiply the square root of, okay, multiply the square root of the proportion multiply 1 minus proportion, okay, 1 minus proportion, so you can check the formula here, okay, divide by the number of samples. So we have 10 samples in each set of data, so it's 10. So and then you bracket it and you can get the value is 0.42. So copy the formula again, and then you have for the next one is higher, so it should be plus. So you can see, okay, plus. So you can see the confidence interval is between 0.41 to 0.98. So this is the coverage probability based on 10 set of confidence interval. So for your case, you need to be 200, just put it to 200, repeat the step to obtain the mean, okay, the mean, Z value, standard deviations, and you can get the confidence interval for each set of data. And then using this formula function, COUNTIFS, okay, you just key in the formulas, and you can straight away get the number of confidence interval that contains the population mean. So then the proportion, Z value, and using the formulas for this one, get the population mean, population proportion, and you can get the coverage probability. So I think that should be enough for you that you need all these functions to complete your coursework. So if you still have any questions or you want to learn more about Excel, so I will put a few links in the description below that I think it is useful for you and it is recommended by me to read it and to understand more about the statistics and maybe also about the Excel in this case. So that's all for me today and thank you.